She can jump, she will cruise. This girl just simply can't lose. Ooh, watch that mare win with ease. Dig it, the glancing queen. You're welcome. Jordan here, False Start Racing. Day 3 Cheltenham preview. 1 week today, the Thursday, the big day, including the likes of the Ryanair Chase and the Stayers Hurdle. I'm pumped for it. Been a bit of a disappointing week this week with the news within horse racing, but we won't go into that. We're looking forward, onwards and upwards, to what we've been looking forward to for the last few months, the Cheltenham Festival. Day 3 kicks us off with the JLT, as I still call it, the 2.5 mile novice race. A very hot favourite here for Ireland in Envoy Allen. And looking through the field, to be honest with you, I can't see it getting beaten. In terms of a betting proposition, I think the horse is currently 4 to 5, 10 to 11. That's not the sort of price I'd usually get involved with. I have a disclaimer, I have got a dirty double. It was a Sky Bet enhanced double of Shishkin and Envoy Allen, 7 to 2. I do have that double. Should Shishkin win, I will be enjoying this race with knowing I've got the favourite on my team. Should Shishkin lose, which is now possible, I probably won't have a bet in this race. Probably depends on how many drinks I've had by 1:20 that afternoon. It could be a case of maybe nipping off to the old toilet behind the partner's back and putting one of them cheeky bets on that you regret later on. But my selection would be Envoy Allen. As I said, the opposition, just briefly to go through the opposition. Second in would be Shan Blue. He was beaten last time out by Sporting John. Sporting John could also come here. I think he's listed for here or the RSA. Again, I backed him last year in the Ballymore, the race that Envoy Allen won over the same distance. Sporting John never got going. So why would I believe he's going to get going this year? Could the fences improve him? Not for me. Other horses, Fusel Raffles, I've never really been a fan after the early hype when he first won a few races. So, a boring start to the day. I've got a dirty double. Shishkin and Envoy Allen. Should Shishkin win that race, I'll be sitting pretty on a nice double. If not, it will be a no-bet race, people. I know, hard to believe. Second race of the day, we're moving on to a handicap. Now, I've been thinking about this and looking through a few of my previous videos. I think it would be best if maybe I'll make a separate video for the handicaps, if that's what you guys would like. So, the weights come out yesterday. I've been having a look through them, and I'm going to make a day 3 and day 4 preview, and I will then be uploading a handicap preview where I'll be mulling over all the information released yesterday. Just to briefly, in terms of the attempts, I've currently got a cheeky Sky Bet free £5 bet on Imperial Alcazar. I was very impressed with the way he won last time out, beating a horse called Mr. Harp, who I actually rate quite highly. And the horse on my radar at the minute for the race, just briefly, I haven't really looked into it too much, would be a horse called Keeper Hill. He's been running in some decent races this year, and I've noticed he's been travelling very well up until a point, and that's all been on heavy ground. I'm just wondering if good ground could see a good performance for Keeper Hill, currently 33 to 1. As I said, the next few days I'll be studying the handicaps a bit more, and I will drop a video if you would like me to. Moving on to the Ryanair, one of my bigger fancies of the week. This is an anti-post bet I've had for some time. 20 to 1 each way on Mr. Fisher of Nicky Henderson. You'll be surprised by that. This horse ran over course and distance last year behind Faheen, Mellon and Sam Crow in last year's JLT, and he travelled beautifully, but I think Ruby Walsh said it best when he reviewed the race. Nico never quite got the horse into a position where he could truly challenge, but he travelled through the race beautifully. It's a horse that's always been said by Nicky to want good ground, and it's very hard this season to have found good ground. But the horse actually come out on soft ground last time out at Cheltenham and beat Kalashnikov by a couple of lengths, which was a very good performance, very strong performance, hit the line well. I think the time before that he ran at Cheltenham, he was pulled up, I believe. Again, that was due to the ground. I remembered I backed it anti-post for that race, and Nicky Henderson before the race was umming and ahhing whether to even run the horse. And looking back, they probably shouldn't have run it. But for the guys outside the UK, we're currently looking like we're going to maybe have good ground, or obviously they will water the track. We might have good to soft ground, and that will play into Mr. Fisher's hands. Got incredible back form. If you go through some of his back form, some of the horses he's beat, and I thought at the time 20 to 1. was a cracking price each way. And I think the horse is now, what, best price 10 to 1 shot, and the firm's offering non-runner money back. He's about 8 to 1, so I'm sitting on 20 to 1. And I just think this is a young, progressive type. And you've got a few old cloggers in this race. Now, one of the other old cloggers I do have a free bet on is Min. You know, when you get your cheeky 3-5ers on Paddy Power or Sky Bet. I did bet Min at 7 to 1 about a month ago. Just in case, because I backed the horse last year when he won the Ryanair. And it's one of them where you've got to have a little something on the horse. You know, he's come there last year and won the race. He's ran incredibly at Cheltenham the last few years, always behind Altior. Some people would say that's disappointing, but Altior's such a great horse. So I've got a little saver on Min, but my main selection would be Mr. Fisher, guys. So 20 to 1 each way, 10 to 1 still now. I'd say that was a very good each way bet. The horse apparently in very good nick. Went for a run on the gallops with Altior. They done a bit of jumping together, and apparently they both looked incredible. So Mr. Fisher each way. Moving on to the main event of the evening, the Stayers Hurdle, the old cloggers, Stayers, however you want to say them. Paisley Park, a former winner. Obviously disappointed in the race last year at odds on. He's coming up against Time Hill. That seems to have been the big battle in England this season. They're 1-1 between them. Time Hill won a race earlier in the season, albeit Paisley Park was giving him £3. And then when they ran on the same terms the next time out, Paisley Park returned winner. Now they're running on the same terms again here. So for me, it just puts Paisley Park just ahead of Time Hill. Obviously, Time Hill ran very well in the Albert Bartlett last year. Paisley Park won this race 2 years ago. We can't forget the Irish contenders. You've got horses with Cheltenham form here. Sire de Burley and the Storyteller, who finished 1-2 in a Pertemps one year. They bring Cheltenham form in, and albeit Sire de Burley's run at Christmas didn't go to plan, a lot of shrewd judges have tipped this horse up, and it could be a player. I think the Storyteller's actually in the form of his life, if you look at some of his runs. A few of them over fences. He finished second in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown. I think he's in the form of his life. I wouldn't deter you from putting an each-way punt on the Storyteller. He's going into my dirty each-way Heinz for the day at a double-figure price. He will be the cheeky selection, but the main selection will be Paisley Park. I think he's returned in good order this season. As I said, the first run I was very pleased with that. He got beat by Time Hill, but it was only by a couple of lengths, and as I said, he gave Time Hill £3 in weight that day. Then off levels the next time, it was an incredible staying performance to get past Roxana and Time Hill, and I think they're going to have this horse ready for the day. It's going to be a cracking race, people. Let me know who you think will win in the comments below. I'm going for Paisley Park at around 3 to 1. I'm hoping on the day they might push it out to a bit of 7 to 2. Maybe on the exchanges they might get a bit of 4 to 1. But Paisley Park will win this year's Stayers Hurdle, people. The Brown Advisory Handicap, I have absolutely no idea. As I said, I'll be making a handicap video which will be released next week. I have no idea. I haven't even looked at that race, to be fair with you people. It's a race I've got a terrible record in. It's not one of my fondest races. However, I will mull over the weights tonight, this evening. I will be drawing up a selection for that and revealing it in a video next week. Now to my main pick of the Thursday, my biggest fancy, as you could probably tell by the opening of this video, is the Glancing Queen, who's got a bit of Cheltenham form. I seem to remember he ran in the bumper a few years ago, finished 5th behind the one and only Envoy Allen, behind Abracadabra, behind some very good horses. I think Time Hill was also in that race. Now he finished 5th that time. He suffered a setback. He come back to Cheltenham again a year later in the bumper, running it again and finished 8th of about 24 horses. Now you could say finishing 8th, beating 10 or so lengths is disappointing, but after such a long layoff, I thought that was an impressive run in itself. Now this season, coming out hurdling, she's unbeaten against her own sex. She won at Warwick first time out this season, beating a horse called Bourbon Beauty, who then went on to win her next race. And then she beat Global Harmony, who also went on to win her next race. Obviously the form of that race looked very good. Glancing Queen won it, and the runner-up and the third went out and won next time. She then ran in the Cello against one of my horses of the season, Brave Man's Game, beaten 10 lengths. However, she was only half a length behind Stargate of Evan Williams, who I think is a cracking horse. You know, given that she's a mare, I thought that was a really good performance. And maybe getting beaten 10 lengths by Brave Man's Game, in a few years to come, that might not be seen as bad form for some horses. Because he seems to have done it to a few horses. There's a horse called Bothwell Bridge as well. Got smashed by Brave Man's Game. He come out last week and won. He's now a player in the Albert Bartlett. So these horses finishing 10 lengths behind Brave Man's Game might not be a disaster. Then she come out next time at a big odds on 1-6, and she won. And she had a disappointing last prep race. Some would say I think it was last weekend, losing to a horse of Dan Skelton's called Wild About Oscar, beaten 7 lengths. But I was more than happy for her to get a run in her system. And as I said, this is back against her own sex in the Mares Novice Hurdle. And I think this is a very weak division. There's no standout. Usually Willie Mullins has a few here where you think, oh yeah, it's an easy winner. I think I remember Lorena. You had Lamini one year. He hasn't really got a strong favourite this year. Hook Up has caught a lot of Shrewdy's eyes because he finished 4th in a Grade 1 behind Appreciate It. I think the Glancing Queen's got previous Cheltenham form, and it's a mare, she's undefeated against her own sex. She will give her a run in, and at current 9-1, non-runner money bet, I think that's a cracking each way bet. I'm on at 16-1, I put the bet on 2 months ago, and I'm sitting very happy that come the day they have this mare wound up. And I honestly think 16-1 I've got, you can still get 9 or 10-1. I think it's a cracking each way bet, and she's the best British hope for this Mares Novice Hurdle. So let's be patriotic and get on the British horse, shall we? And then the final race of the day, as I said, another handicap, the Kim Muir. Used to be rode by amateurs, didn't it? But this year they can't come over. So, as I said, another handicap. There is one that I've actually had an anti-post bet on. So there is a horse in this race who I have eyed up for the race, and that is a horse that's finished 2nd in the race 2 years running. And that is Cheltenham Cross. Now, absolutely terrible form this season. Whenever I've watched it, it's been dreadful. Has shown nothing really. But if you look at it, they always aim at this race. It's finished 2nd in this race 2 years running. And 2 years ago it was £4 higher. Last year it was £3 higher. It's dropped a total of £4 here. And at 25-1, 5 places, non-runner money back. That's got to be a cracking anti-post bet for me. A horse that is always geared up for this race. I think some horses you can just forgive their form leading up to the festival. They're just ran to keep the horse fit. They're not really put into a race much. They want that handicap mark to lower. And if he gets into this race off a £4 lower mark than 2 years ago, a £3 lower mark than last year, I don't see why Cheltenham Cross for 5 places isn't going to at least run into a place. And so it's 5-1 a place off 25-1. I would suggest that's a very good each way bet, people. So, leading on from this, so final selections, just to go through them. You've got Envoy Allen in the JLT, Imperial Alcazar / Keeper Hill for the Pertemps. As I say, I will be updating a handicap video soon. Mr Fisher in the Ryanair each way, Paisley Park in the Stayers Hurdle, Nothing Yet in the Brown Advisory, the Nap of the Day, the Glancing Queen for the British in the Mares Novice Hurdle, and Cheltenham Cross at a mighty 25-1 to at least place. He could win this year, but you always find one. He seems to always find one that's well handicapped finish ahead of him. But those are the selections for day 3, people. So let me know in the bottom. Have you guys got any selections for the handicaps at the minute? Let me know in the bottom, in the comments section. Let me know, because I will be having a good look through the weights that have been released. And as I say, people, it's less than 2 weeks now. Obviously, a sad story developed in the week in horse racing, but let's not forget the good that's in horse racing. This is Christmas time for most of us people, the Cheltenham Festival, and I'm for one still just absolutely buzzing for it. I'll be seeing you guys next week for the Friday preview and for a handicap preview. So for now, stay safe, stay at home, protect the NHS. Peace out, people.